Good evening. To succeed in your mission, you must have single-minded devotion to your goal. Welcome to BMC News Live in English, brought to you by Al Hilal Hospital and Medical Centers. I am Vinod Narayanan, joining you with the daily news updates. Today's headlines.
Bahrain planned new guidelines for urban and civic spaces. NPRA to launch manmade app on February 14. No quarantine and testing at airport for international travelers to India, starting from tomorrow, February 14. Saudi confirmed replacing passport with electronic one, not mandatory. Saudi to launch first news radio.
News in detail. National Action Charter. His Majesty King's profound vision has made Bahrain beacon of success. During the turbulent times of confusion and uncertainty of the late 1990s, His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa had an exceptionally clear and burning sense of Bahrain's destiny in the modern world. His Majesty the King sought to establish a general framework for effective governance of a more modern and advanced nation destined to grow and change, where no one is left out or behind and all people can contribute in their capacities to the national building process. It all started officially in October 3rd, 2000, when, opening the new session of the Shura Council, he identified in his address to the nation key features to start a new stage in Bahrain's political future. On November 23rd, he issued Decree 36 forming a national committee to draft the National Action Charter, a covenant document and a pillar of the new political, social and economic structure in Bahrain. The committee, made up of 44 of the finest men and women of Bahrain, representing the various segments and components of the country, drew on the knowledge, expertise and experience of its members and drafted the charter that set out the main principles, foundations and objectives of the reform process and the new political, social and economic structure. The charter dealt with the basic introductions of Bahraini society, the objectives and foundations of governance, fundamental rights and freedoms of the citizens of Bahrain, the foundations upon which the family, community and civil society organizations are based, education, culture, science and work as a right and an obligation. Bahrain planned new guidelines for urban and civic spaces. Bahrain plans to introduce a new guidelines for designing urban and civic spaces as part of the sustainability vision. The move aims at enhancing sustainability practices in the country and reconsidering the current approach to designing urban and civic spaces. The project would involve a desktop study that sets out sustainable brown landscaping strategies and guidelines that can be implemented in Bahrain. The guidelines would also come with a potential prototype design exercise to set a standard in innovative landscaping and urban space design. NPRA to launch manmade app on February 14. The Nationality, Passports and Residence Affairs announced that the manmade app for booking appointments would be launched on Monday, February 14th. The app will replace the current appointment booking system. It will be downloaded via Play Store or App Store to book appointments after entering personal details and choosing the service center, type of the service, date and time. In addition, the app allows individuals to amend or cancel appointments. For further information or queries, dial 17077077 during working days from 7:30 a.m. until 6 p.m. Bahrain ID Card services sped up via online portal. With the availability of ID card services on the national portal and self-service kiosk, appointments for in-person visits for the issuance, renewal or replacement of ID cards must still be booked online in advance. Bookings can be done through the appointments booking and enquiry service on the national portal. Those wishing to make an in-person visit to the service centers are able to do so once they book an appointment. The ID card service centers in Isa Town and Muharraq are open to the public daily from 7:30 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. except on Fridays and Saturdays. Bahrain starts issuing golden visa for investors. Lulu Group Chairman Yusuf Ali is the first recipient. As per Bahrain Cabinet's decision last week to issue a long-term golden residency visa to selected foreigner investors, Yusuf Ali MA, chairman of Lulu Group, becomes first recipient. The golden residency visa is part of the country's economic recovery plan to attract talents and boost its economy. Obviously, a very proud and humbling moment in my life to receive this honor today. I sincerely thank His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa, His Royal Highness Salman bin Hamad Al Khalifa, Crown Prince and Prime Minister of Bahrain, and the government of Bahrain, said Yusuf Ali after receiving his golden visa number 001. Yusuf Ali also called upon His Majesty the King of Bahrain, His Royal Highness Crown Prince, to thank them for the great honor and reinforces his commitment towards Bahrain's economic growth. I am sure this new permanent residency initiative will further boost Bahrain's image as one of the key investment and business hubs of the region, as well as attract and retain new investors here, added Yusuf Ali. Government Hospitals Board of Trustees discussed 2022 strategy. The Government Hospitals Board of Trustees convened for its regular meeting to discuss the 2022 strategic plan, chaired by Sheikh Hisham bin Abdulaziz Al Khalifa. The session was also attended by Government Hospitals Chief Executive Officer Dr. Ahmad Muhammad Al Ansari and other executive management officials. The session extended deepest congratulations to His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa and to His Royal Highness Prince Salman bin Hamad Al Khalifa, the Crown Prince and Prime Minister, on the anniversary of the National Action Charter, which falls on February 14, tomorrow. The panel held the support and care attached by His Majesty the King and His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and Prime Minister, the health sector, commenting the government's keenness on further developing services. The session also discussed the hospital-run facilities allocated for the COVID-19 cases, in addition to other key issues featuring on the agenda of the meeting. LMRA conducted inspection campaign in Southern Governorate. The Labour Market Regulatory Authority has conducted an inspection campaign in the Southern Governorate in cooperation with the Nationality, Passports and Residence Affairs, the Ministry of Industry, Commerce and Tourism and Southern Governorate Directorate that included a number of governorate work sites. The campaign spotted a number of violations related to the provisions of the Labour Market Regulatory Authority law and Bahrain's residence law and led to taking legal actions against the violators. The authority said the campaign was within the intensive efforts of the LMRA in cooperation with the Ministry of Interior and relevant government entities to develop the work environment and address practices that would affect the competitiveness, justice and flexibility of the labour market. Bahrain archaeologists confirm Muharrak's AlSaya Island is man-made. A team holding excavations and archaeological surveys on the historic AlSaya Island in Muharrak found that it is man-made and created in the middle of the sea around a freshwater spring at least 1,200 years ago. The earlier belief was that the island was the after effect of some natural phenomenon. However, the new unexpected finding now opens doors into the remarkable engineering prowess of the ancient people of Bahrain. The historic AlSaya Island, located off the coast of Busaitin, is thus proving to be a treasure trove of Muharrak's ancient history. Today's COVID updates.
COVID updates brought to you by Al Hilal Hospital and Medical Centers.
No quarantine and testing at airport for international travelers to India starting from tomorrow, February 14. Indian expatriates in the kingdom have welcomed the move by their government to relax COVID norms for travelers from 82 countries, including Bahrain, as the new norms will come into effect tomorrow. Travelers arriving in India won't have to undergo a mandatory 7-day home quarantine or an RT-PCR test on the 8th day from February 14, according to revised guidelines for international arrivals issued on Thursday. The Union government has issued revised guidelines for international passengers arriving in India from 14th February regarding COVID-19 protocols. The government in its latest guidelines has decided that flyers arriving in India will not require to undergo a mandatory RT-PCR test on 8th day after arriving. The government has also relaxed the mandatory 7-day home quarantine. Union Health Minister Mansukh Mandavia said on Twitter that there will be random sampling of 2% of international travelers from all countries on arrival. They can give their samples and will be allowed to leave the airport after that. Now we will be back after a very short break.
All your favorite products under one roof in Bahrain at 27-year-old Megamart and Macromart. Bakery, fresh meat and fish, fruits and vegetables, sweets and snacks, ready-to-eat foods, dairy products, grocery or consumer goods. To have a wonderful shopping experience, please visit your nearest Megamart Macromart branch. Megamart and Macromart, full of goodness.
Welcome back. Saudi confirmed replacing passport with electronic one not mandatory. The General Directorate of Passports confirmed that citizens are not obligated to replace their passport with a new electronic passport. The fees for issuing and renewing the passport are still the same and have not changed. The fees for issuing a passport for 5 years are Saudi Riyal 300 and for 10 years Saudi Riyal 600. Citizens wishing to obtain the new electronic passport can book an appointment through the AlSaya platform to check the region's passports, the Directorate said, noting that this method is the first stage of issuance. The passport will continue to be issued in its old form until the launching stages of the new e-passport are completed. Saudi to launch first news radio station. Saudi Broadcasting Authority will launch the Al-Akbariya radio station Sunday, coinciding with World Radio Day, which falls on February 13. This will be the first radio station of its kind in Saudi Arabia. The new radio station will be a radio branch of the Al-Akbariya TV channel, a step aimed at focusing on local specialized content. In reversal, FDA puts brakes on COVID shots for kids under 5. COVID-19 vaccinations for children under 5 hit another months-long delay Friday as US regulators abruptly put the brakes on their efforts to speed review of the shots that Pfizer is testing for youngsters. The Food and Drug Administration, worried about the Omicron variant's toll on kids, had taken the extraordinary step of urging Pfizer to apply extra low-dose vaccine before it is clear if kids will need 2 shots or 3. The agency's plan could have allowed vaccinations to begin within weeks, but Friday the FDA reversed course and said it had become clear the agency needed to wait for data on how well a 3rd shot works for the youngest age group. Pfizer said in a statement that it expected the data by early April. Switzerland to vote in becoming first nation to ban animal testing. Voters in Switzerland will decide on Sunday whether to become the first country to ban animal testing in a referendum that will also consider tightening controls on cigarette advertising. Campaigners who want to end all experiments on mice, rats and other animals gathered enough signatures to stage the vote under the Swiss system of direct democracy, meeting strong opposition from the country's huge pharmaceutical sector. The industry says such research is needed to develop new drugs. Supporters of a ban on animal testing, which government data shows caused more than 500,000 animals to die in Swiss laboratories in 2020, say the practice is ethically wrong and unnecessary, Reuters reported. Norway to end most pandemic curbs. Norway will scrap nearly all its remaining COVID-19 lockdown measures as high levels of coronavirus infections are unlikely to jeopardize health services. The Nordic country, which removed most curbs on February 1st, will still keep more restrictions for the Arctic archipelago of Svalbard. The new rules will take effect from Saturday, Reuters reported. Norwegians will no longer need to stay at least 1 meter apart nor wear face masks in crowd settings. The removal of these measures mean nightclubs and other affected entertainment venues can resume full business. In addition, infected individuals no longer need to isolate themselves. Instead, they are recommended to stay home for 4 days. With that, we come to the end of today's news. Stay tuned for daily news updates in BMC News Live English at 7:30 p.m. every day. I'm Vinod Narayanan signing off from BMC News Live. Good night.